Ladies and gentlemen, the good guy for 1997, Phillis Viera. You and I. Gentlemen, Phillis is going to spend the next 15 or so minutes walking around the hall. So you don't have to sit right now. You can mingle for a while. We won't get the program underway for another 15 to 20 minutes. So smoke them if you have them.
I'm working tonight. Yeah, I said, come see me in the kitchen. She's bring, you know, okay, so I lose a nail. I'll bring it over. She's the kid. I said, oh, I'll go get my Joe. I'll bring my Joe in case she loses the nail so she can put it back on. 2 days.
gentlemen, we're about to start the meal, and would like at this time, I will introduce the head table after the meal. So right now, I'd like to say grace before we eat, but in saying grace, I'd like at this moment to mention that this past week, a former good guy in the form of the female gender, Marion Boylan, who was a good guy in 1975. She died this week at the age of 94. So as we say grace tonight, would you please say goodbye to one good guy, one good person, Marion, and as we say hello to another good guy, Phyllis. Okay, so if you bear with me, I'd like to say grace. Dear God, please bless us tonight for the food we're about to partake in. Please bless us for having the likes of Phyllis in our midst, for all the good she has done, for her and her companions, her husband. And let us take this moment to remember Marion, and thank you through Christ our bounty. Amen. The program will continue after we eat. So while they're cleaning the tables and getting dessert ready, I'll do a few of the introductions. So by the time dessert gets here, we'll be ready for the main speakers. I think I'd like to start by introducing the head table, if I may. My name is Harry Cunningham. I'm the Master of Ceremonies tonight. I bought my own fan club, obviously. Sitting. There we go. Cheryl Gressick, a phone call for you. This is a ploy on the part of some people to leave when I get up to speak. The head table is as follows. To my left is my charming, beautiful wife, Catherine Josephine Cunningham. On the far left is Jim Buckley. Now, Jim is last year's good guy, 1996, and his wife, Eleanor. To my right is the good guy of 1997, Phillis Viera. Her husband, Joe Riera II. only sister who's much younger, I'm told. Ginger Brazes and her husband, Dan. And rounding out the Viera family is Joe Viera III. Now, Phyllis asked me if I'd introduce her family. Now, if I start now, we'll finish just before daybreak. So they're situated at 3 various tables around the hall. I'll just mention by name. I don't think we should applaud them unless there's someone special in that family, Phyllis. There is? They're all special. Okay, why don't we save the applause? Why don't we save the applause until the end? Okay, Phyllis, we'll do that? You're the boss. Okay, sitting to my left is Joe's father, Joe and Pat Viera Sr. Then there's, from New York, is Nancy and Tim Bailey. He changed his name to Tom Bailey this morning. So it's Nancy and Tom Bailey. Sheila and Tony Viera. Ellie Post. Uncle Frank Regan. Ryan, he changed his name from Regan to Ryan today too. Paul Viera. Richie and Euron Roycroft. Thanks, I'm getting prompted here. Joe and Elaine Mucci. Christine Urin, she's from Orlando. She's not from Orlando. Her boyfriend's name is Orlando. We rehearsed this for days. They just became engaged, Phyllis tells me. Phyllis, you want to speak? Then let me do the talking, okay? There's Jody and Mike Thompson. There's Dan Brazes and Orlando. Brazes, I should have said, right, Dan? Dan Brazes? Okay. And there's Chris Stevenson and Jamie Brazes from Chicago. Lorraine Day. Is that right? Okay. Rita Gifford. Donna Harmon. Okay. Jack McLaughlin, who is the godfather. Thanks, Jack, for coming. And that's it. That's the Viera family. That was probably the most exciting part of the evening. Because now I have a list of dignitaries. 12 pages. But I'm only going to read a couple. With us tonight, I'm just going to name a few. There's an awful lot of people here who hold office in the town of Wilmington, but I'll just name a few of them. Mike Kyra, and by the way, why don't we hold the applause? Because this is an election year. Okay, so let me name them all first. Mike Kyra, who is the #1 man here in town. Skip Moynihan, assessor. Jim Stewart, the town moderator. Jim Rooney, the former chairman of the Board of Selectmen. He's filling in for Dan Waddell, sick tonight. Jim Maselli was going to be late, and actually we held up the proceedings till he entered the hall. Jim is here, but he's with his aide, Dick Wilson, one of them. And only one can come to the podium to make the presentation. You'll see why when you meet Jim. Also with us tonight is Susie Rooney. Is Susie Rooney, Jim's wife, newly elected member of the school committee, former state senator, one of the all-time favorites here in Wilmington, Bob, with his wife Jean Buell. Representing John Tierney is Cheryl Gressek. Right, Cheryl? Thank you very much. She'll have something, she just got an important phone call, obviously, with notes of what to say tonight. Is that right, Cheryl? Noel Barada, chairman of the Water and Sewer. Kay Scanlon, the town clerk. And last but not least, the other one I'm going to mention is the deer officer here in town. Very popular young fellow named Chip Bruce. Now, for the people from out of town, and there is a few from Chicago and New York and Orlando, very quickly, let me tell you why we're here tonight. About 31 years ago, a group of people in town felt that there was a certain person in town by the name of Rocco DePasquale, who was a wonderful human being. He donated all his time and his money and his efforts to make this town a better place to live in. So a few of the people got together and went down to his restaurant. I think they wanted a free meal too. But they went down to Rocco's restaurant and said, Rocco, you're a good guy. We therefore call you the good guy of Wilmington. This was 31 years ago. And Rocco, as most good guys do, said, I'm not worthy of this, and there's a whole bunch of other good guys in town. And he proceeded to name the next one. And in the following year, someone named the next one, and on it's gone. The good guy is nominated. The campaign starts in late March, and people in turn write in, nominate people. The nominations are presented to a board of former good guys. They vote on it, not just for the number of letters received, but they also vote on it for the quality of the person being nominated. There's been some great nominees over the years. There's been a few lemons, but who'll go unnamed, by the way. But this year, obviously, was an almost unanimous choice. We had quite a few letters, and it was a kind of landslide road for Phillis, and it was long overdue. So to give this group a little flavor of why Phillis was nominated and then elected, I have a letter I'd like to read. And this is a letter that nominated her, and it happens to be from her husband, Joe. So if you bear with me, I received this permission to read this. And this goes as follows. This letter introduces you to my wife, Phillis Viera. She is a person who gives herself to many needs. She is a good mother and wife. And to give you some idea of the type of person she is, these are some of the things she has done for the people of Wilmington. She's on the Special Needs Advisory Committee for 4 years. She was on the Wilmington Youth Hockey Board of Directors and learned to skate programs. She was a teacher for 8 years. She belongs to the Wilmington Figure Skating Club, Board of Directors, and toddler lessons to skate. She taught toddlers to skate for 6 years. She was on the Wilmington Arena Authority and served as secretary and vice chairman for 10 years. She was on the subcommittee for the fire department, and she arranged for the old-time hockey games to be played for fundraisers for the town. She taught CCD at St. Thomas's Church for 3 years. She is the current secretary of the Veterans Day and Memorial Day Committee. She's the current secretary of the Wilmington 4th of July Committee. And for people out of town, it's a very big thing in town, thing here in the town of Wilmington. The 4th of July Committee is in effect busy all year round. And it's become a highlight of the 4th of July week, which is an entire week is given up to celebrating the 4th of July. And there's fireworks twice during the week. And you'll find out later that the money raised for fireworks, we need about $13,000 to $14,000 to put the fireworks on. This lady to my right raised the money entirely by herself this year. She also heads up a small group called the Daffodil Fund for Cancer Care. She's been doing this in the town of Wilmington for 8 years. The letter goes on. She runs country and western dance lessons, and this is where she raises the money for the 4th of July fireworks. She's done this for 4 years. She's past president of the American Legion Auxiliary 136. She's past president of VFW, Ladies Auxiliary Post 2458. And Joe finishes this letter and says, as you can see, she gives a lot of herself and still keeps up with all of her family. So I would like to enter her name as a good guy. Thank you in advance, Joseph Viera Jr., husband. He adds a postscript. She has also entered and walked in many of the walks for hunger and cancer walks here in the town of Wilmington. She does that in her spare time. But there's something that I can say about her that's a little unique, and even she and Joe don't know about this. If they did, I'm the keeper of the letters here in the town of Wilmington. And when I recognized the name Viera, I went back into the files. And in March 1992, I have a letter equally as long, and this is written by Phillis to the committee members of the Good Guy Committee nominating her husband, Joe. Yeah. And I won't read that. It's kind of lengthy, and I don't want you people to, get bored with me so soon in the night. But let me just read the closing paragraph of a very lengthy letter. This is signed by Phyllis, and as I say, it was March 19th, 1992, 5 years ago. And she says, if I understand the meaning and intent of this committee, someone who has served the town in many endeavors without complaint, continues to serve this town without hesitation, and gives his heart and soul to the town of Wilmington, then Joe Viera is more than deserving of the Good Guy Award. I only pray that you all feel the same. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. This is for her husband, signed by Phillis Viera. So you ask, why didn't Joe win that year? It's just probably there's a whole bunch of other nominees, and he was not elected. But he was nominated by his wife, the present Good Guy. A couple of things I should mention, but I'll do that later on. But I think I'd like the ceremonies to start in the aforementioned 4th of July committee, which is very special here in the town of Wilmington, is headed up and led by a fellow by the name of James Stewart. Okay? He used to be called Humphrey Bogart a few years ago, but he changed it's like the wind. So Jim Stewart, the town moderator, representing the 4th of July committee.
I'll be nice, Phyllis. Phyllis, Joe, your family, honorable guests, you too, Harry. Before I start with Phyllis and Joe, yes, Harry, closer to the mic. Thank you. I've never spoken in public before. Thank you. Thank you for the tip, Harry. Before I start with Phyllis, there were 3 guys at the pearly gates. And St. Peter comes up to him and says, you know, we've changed the rules in heaven a bit. We've now divided heaven by intelligence, and I need to know what your IQ is so I can determine where you go. So he asked the first guy, he says, well, what's your IQ, sir? And he says, it's 170. He says, well, I'll put you over there with the Albert Einstein group and the rocket scientists. He says to the second guy, what's your IQ? He says, well, it's about 130. He says, well, I'll put you in that middle section with, you know, our world leaders, John Kennedy, and that group. He says to the third guy, he says, well, what's your IQ? He says, well, my IQ is 60, St. Peter. He says, well, St. Peter says to him, so how's Harry Cunningham doing? Sorry, I got to pick on Harry. There's no way in the world I'm picking on Phyllis tonight, so, yeah. I've known Phyllis for many, many years, and for the past 10 plus, I've had the pleasure and the honor of serving on the 4th of July committee with her and having been the chairman for most of those years. And I can tell you that there isn't a person in this town that is more dedicated to volunteerism, that is more dedicated to helping the town of Wilmington and our community and the 4th of July committee. And as Harry mentioned previously, Phyllis has been working on a special fundraiser the past number of years, which is a country western dance lesson in dances. And our fireworks each year cost us roughly $12,000 to $14,000. And Harry mentioned that, yes, Phyllis has raised all of that all by herself with these country western dances and the lessons. And I can't tell you how appreciative the 4th of July committee is. This year we are naming the fireworks in the honor of Phillis Viera. So this year, when you come to the 4th of July celebration and you look up on the 5th of July, which is going to be the big night this year, and you see the spectacular fireworks, I want everybody to take a moment and thank this lady here, who is very, very much deserving of not only this group's appreciation, but the entire town of Wilmington's, for the hard work that she's done for the community, and especially for the 4th of July committee. And Phyllis, I'd like to present you with a small token of the 4th of July committee's appreciation for your hard work over the many, many years you've put in. Phyllis?
Thanks, Jim. Before I say anything else, is this system here, can anybody hear Jim Stewart? It's too bad. But is this bothering anybody at all? Everybody can hear all right? We'll leave it on then, I guess. Okay, before we go much further, if you're from out of town and know nothing about the town of Wilmington, the highlight of the town of Wilmington is the town election and also the Good Guy Award. And they don't tape the town election, but they do tape the Good Guy Award, and they show it once, twice, 3, 4 times, 5, 6 times on one channel. But we've graduated this year with the new cable system coming out. We have 3 channels. WCTV on channels 9, 10, and 22 will show Phillis Viera for the rest of her natural days. And representing WCTV tonight is Dan Leard and Ray Boucheri, or Bukhari, one of the two, huh? Okay, fine. So that can be picked up in another week or so on Channel 10, and it is going to be taped and sent out to Chicago and Orlando, okay? So the next speaker now, I'm in a quandary. Jim Maselli got here late, and Dick Robinson, his aide, was going to speak for him. Now, I don't know if they're coming up as a team, or if Dick is coming up, or Jim is coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the #1 man, Jim Maselli. Jim is the state rep for the town of Wilmington. Now, you have to bear with me. It takes a few minutes to get the podium ready for Jim. We have to lower the mic.
Move the podium.
All right?
Not bad. That's pretty
Not
good.
Not bad.
Yeah. You all set?
No, I want to ask you, can I ask you a question?
Anytime.
In today's newspaper was noted that Jim Maselli has got an election, an elevation in the State House. He's now the vice chairman of the Committee to Audit and Oversight. Is that right, Jim?
Yep.
What in the hell do you do there? Why don't you tell these people?
Very good. The Committee on Post Audit and Oversight is a very sensitive committee with a lot of authority. Sound like I'm campaigning. We have a battery of lawyers and investigators. We have oversight to auditing and investigating any manner in which the Commonwealth's funds are spent. Any committee, Department of Public Works, any commission, any town. So it has very, very broad powers, and my position takes the same status as a chairman. And before you say it, I'll say it. It has the same salary as a chairman's salary, too. So can I talk a little bit about what I've done over the last few years, too? No, seriously. We're here tonight to honor Phillis Viera. And I was on the Board of Selectmen when Phyllis was hired. And not only is she an outstanding employee, and we heard everything that Harry said about her resume, it called to mind a few years back when I served with one of the selectmen, one of the outstanding ladies in the community, and she had a theory. When we were interviewing town managers, if their resume was very broad, she just eliminated it. And I, being the young buck on the board at that time, many years ago, said, well, why are you doing that? And she said, if they have that long a resume and if they've done that much, obviously they haven't done anything very well. So I want to concentrate, and maybe there's something to be said for that, on those resumes that are pretty short. But Phyllis is an exception, but I don't have to tell you that. Everything that Harry mentioned, not only is she involved, she does very well. And she's done a lot on behalf of the community. And she's been an outstanding employee, and as I said, I was on the Board of Selectmen when she was hired. She's someone that if you walk into that assessor's office, no matter who you are, she'll come over there and spend the time with you. And I've seen her with some of the senior citizens in the community, explaining just what the abatement process is like. She really cares about people, and I know that's a trite saying today, but she does. And her husband Joe is an equally good partner, and I've known them for many years. In fact, I'm going to hold a reunion with some of the folks I see sitting out there. But she's just been great. She's been great at everything she does, and it's an honor for me tonight to present this citation to her from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Phillis Viera in recognition of your being honored as the 1997 recipient of the Wilmington Good Guy-Gal Award for your outstanding and dedicated service to countless community programs in the town of Wilmington. Your tireless efforts are greatly appreciated and have not gone unnoticed. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune, continued success in all endeavors, and it's signed the 9th day of May, 1997 at the State House by Thomas Fitteran, Speaker of the House, offered by James Maselli, Vice Chairman. And I've got one more, and in a few months, this will be a collector's item, and it's the Commonwealth of Massachusetts William Weld Governor, or as we call him at the State House, Taco Bill, and Ajo Paul Salucci, Lieutenant Governor, to Phillis Viera, on being named the 1997 Wilmington Good Guy-Gal, which is deserving of recognition by all the citizens of Massachusetts. This is signed the 9th day of May, 1997. William Weld Governor, Phillis, well-deserved, long overdue. Congratulations.
I'll fix the microphone myself, Jim. Thanks. Now to add a little bit of family, and by the way, that's the last time I'll ask a politician a question. I apologize for that. God almighty. The next speaker is representing Phyllis's family. This is her sister-in-law, Elaine Mucci.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a politician and I'm not a big speaker, but I just wanted to say that we're very proud to be here tonight honoring Phyllis with you people. And we think she deserves it too. So this is just a little something from us. Yeah, I want you to.
Representing the Veterans of Foreign Wars is Eddie Williams. Another short person, okay.
I haven't known Phyllis and Joe as long as I'm sure some of these people out here. But I do know that Phyllis has a dog. And it's a very intelligent dog. It's been to obedience school. It's been to advanced training. So when in your honor, Phyllis, I'd like to tell you about a dog that I had. Now, everybody names their dog Rover or Spot. I named mine Sex. Now, Sex has been very embarrassing to me. When I went to renew the dog license, I told the clerk I would like the license for Sex. He said, I'd like to have one too. Then I said, but this is a dog. He said he didn't care what she looked like. Then I said, you don't understand. I had sex since I was 9 years old. He said I must have been quite a kid. When I got married and I went on my honeymoon, I took the dog with me. I told the motel clerk that I wanted a room for my wife and myself and a special room for Sex. He said that every room in the place is a special room for Sex. I said, you don't understand. Sex keeps me awake at night. The clerk said, me too. One day I entered Sex in a contest. But before the competition began, the dog ran away. Another contestant asked me why I was just standing there. I told him I had planned to have sex in the contest. He told me I should have sold my own tickets. But you don't understand, I said. I had hoped to have sex on TV. He called me a show-off. When my wife and I divorced, we went to court to fight for the custody of the dog. I said, Your Honor, I had sex before I was married. The judge said, me too. Then I told him that after I was married, sex disappeared. He said, I know. Last night, sex ran off again. I spent hours looking for him. A cop came over to me and asked, what are you doing in this alley at 4 o'clock in the morning? I said I was looking for sex. My court case comes up in Lowell next week. But on a serious note, Phyllis, I have a couple of awards to give you. On behalf of the Department of Massachusetts VFW and Commander Arthur D. Lettieri, State Commander, it gives me great pleasure to present you this plaque for your work toward the veterans. And as I said in the paper, you are the glue that holds us together. Phyllis? And I have another one on behalf of Post 2458 for meritorious and distinguished service in furthering the aims and ideals of the veterans of foreign wars of the United States. It gives me a great pleasure, Phyllis, to present you this plaque signed by myself and the adjutant.
Another short guy. Next year we're going to go by height. As I mentioned earlier tonight, the Board of Selectmen Chairman Danny Waddell is under the weather, so they sent a substitute. Jim Rooney is a substitute tonight. For you people from out of town, Jim Rooney is also a sergeant on the police department. In town, we call him Take No Prisoner Rooney. So even if he's not funny, if he's not interesting, for God's sakes, applaud. For your own safety. Only kidding, Sergeant.
Doesn't matter how it's too late.
Jim Flunk, box opening 101. There we go.
Phyllis, as Harry says, Dan Wandell truly is not feeling very well tonight. Otherwise, he said he'd like to be here to personally congratulate you. So on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, to you, when it's always in the background, always doing the work, always doing so much, thank you. Thank you very much for you.
As Jim goes further in politics and become more long-winded. Not like you, Jim Maselli, I didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. Again, representing the family, this is a couple of newlyweds-to-be. And we're told in October they're going to exchange rings, and tonight they want to exchange bobs, I guess, for Auntie Phyllis. So this is Jamie Brazos. Brazos, I'm sorry, I got Brazos. I got Orlando and Brazos. I'll have them down pretty soon. And their fiance, Chris Stevenson. Another giant, I'm sorry.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for coming, and Uncle Joey, we want to thank you for getting Auntie Phyllis here on time.
That's a trick in itself.
Yes, it is. For a woman who is a master at packing 27 hours of activities into a mere 24, She has a tendency sometimes to run a little bit behind schedule. We all forgive her for that and understand. However, once she gets to where she's going, she often has forgotten why she's going there, or has forgotten to bring all of the necessary items for whatever event she's attending. And for the women in the family, we've learned to answer to any name that comes out of Auntie Phyllis's name, her mouth, I mean. We hear her speak and we look. Who is she talking to? Who is she trying to reach? On a more serious note, we all know Phillis Viera. We all love her for many different reasons. She is a woman who wears many hats well. She is a loving wife and mother, a loyal sister, sister-in-law, compassionate friend, and doting godmother. She is a community servant. However, the hat that I like the best is that of Auntie. I remember receiving a phone call after Chris and I have gotten engaged at work. There was a hello on the other line, and on the other end of the phone, and I knew I recognized it, but once she said, "It's Auntie," I was comforted. So I just want everybody to know how special she is to not only everyone here, but to me. I love you, Auntie Phyllis.
It's going to be hard to follow that one up, I think. I'm going to be I believe the nephew, extended in-law, so I've got a lot of respect in the family already. What you don't really know about Phyllis, she supports the community, supports her friends, her family. What she really does, though, deep down inside, her secret passion is the Boston Red Sox. Are there any Sox fans here? All right. On numerous occasions, she and her sister have gone to the game together with mixed enthusiasm. They're ready to root on their Sox. They've been there so many times that they're almost known by name. It seems that Phyllis is frankly the one who's the one, I'm sorry. It seems that Phyllis is often the one with the Dodge Intrepid with the lights on. All right, so it fell flat. At any rate. Folks, we have a very special person here with us tonight, as you all well know, and I'm blessed to know her now on and off for the last 5 years. I've visited New Hampshire and Massachusetts. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. I want to thank you, Joe, for your nomination of your wife. She's a lovely lady, and I'm proud to be a part of the family.
As you can imagine, Phyllis being involved in an awful lot of outdoor activities, especially the 4th of July committee. By the way, the 4th of July festivities here is where we take over the entire center of town, the commons, and for 5 straight nights we have meals being served by the civic groups and booths set up, and then it culminates in the fireworks after many hospital bed races, etc. So over the past years, because of lack of toilet space in the town, the public buildings in the area, there's been a great amount of usage on porta potties, portable potties, and so a few people work with Phyllis in that area, and I'm just saying this, they want to present Phyllis with something, but I think I'm going to hold this until after the next speaker, at which time the potty patrol, I think it's called, has a few things to say or do. So if you want to go to the men's room, ladies' room, better do it now. Representing youth hockey here in the town of Wilmington, on Phyllis's behalf, is a gentleman by the name of Stu Ring.
We would like to just thank Phyllis for the many hours that she has put in to the youth of Wilmington. Her countless efforts to raise money to help the young children in Wilmington in the youth hockey program, especially at the time when we were without a rink at one point. She led the crusade to help raise money and to keep the organization alive. I just want to tell people how much we appreciated what she has done for the youth of the town of Wilmington. Phyllis, thank you.
Before I bring the party patrol on, I would like to mention something else going on tonight. The president in the hall, which I did not introduce, is the president of the Rotary Club here in town, Bob Peterson, and also present is the president of the Kiwanis Club, Mr. Dick Fudge. Absent tonight is the president of the Lions Club, Mr. Roger Goldsboro. But Mr. Peterson, Mr. Fudge, and Mr. Goldsboro wanted me to pass on to you, Phyllis, an open invitation. They'll be contacting you throughout the year for you to come and dine at their expense and be presented to both the Rotary Club, the Lions Club, and the Kiwanis Club. So not at the same time, but this invitation has been extended, and this will be extended in the future for all future good guys. So you got 3 free meals coming. Off to my left coming in is the party patrol. These are ladies who have worked with Phyllis. Phyllis actually wore this garb also. Oh, there goes your review. They're breaking up us. Ladies, as you can tell, this is not an active toilet. Visitors from out of town, especially from Orlando, this is not Disney World. Do not use this porta potty. We'll let the ladies finish their act and we'll get on to the next speaker. Oh, you got something to say? Representing the party patrol is Ms. Peg Power. Peg?
Excuse me. First of all, a little short explanation on why it's called the Party Patrol. First of all, Phyllis, hold this, honey.
First of all, your name has to begin with a P.
Well, several years ago, because the crowds, do I have to keep going down because this thing goes down? The crowds began to grow, thank you, honey. No, not the eyeball, no. And we had a slight problem with the sanitary conditions at the high school. So we decided to throw a few bucks in and hire some porta potties. Well, after a couple of days in the heat, the porta potties needed toilet paper, and they needed deodorizing, and they needed general spiffing up. So Mrs. Searforce, who's kneeling in the front here, said, wow, there's only 2 people that are eligible to clean these porta potties. It's the 2 women on the committee with the initials P. That's Phyllis and Peggy. She says, oh, you can be nicknamed the PP Party Patrol. So Joan Searforce's husband, Richard, made this badge up for you.
Yeah.
You are the captain of the PP Party Patrol. Now, when we would go over to the high school where the parties were first located, we asked the custodians at the high school if they would allow us to use a hose so we could hose the interior of these things out. And after a while, it got so bad that we were starting to wear these masks. And plastic gloves and saying prayers before we went over. So, where's the toilet paper? Give it to me. Here, toilet paper. No, the roll. So from now on, Phyllis, when you go over, because I'm not going with you anymore, I think this should be yours. We have a spiffy, brand new, clean plunger. I want you to know I went and bought this. I did not borrow it. It is sanitized, and these are the 4th of July toilet rolls, just in case you don't know which ones to use. Okay? Thank you very much.
The next group is going to be a cast of thousands. But before we hear from the cast of thousands, representing the, representing the American Legion, Mr. Ken Lydon. Ken? Put the mic up. We got a tall man in the group. Very good. Thanks, Mike. Ken. Both of you, yeah.
I've only known Phyllis for a short time, meeting with her at the Veterans Day festivities and Memorial Day, and planning for Memorial Day this year. I think she should get nominated right now as the first great guy of Wilmington for putting up with Mr. Jim Hanley at these meetings. But on behalf of the American Legion, I'd like to present Phyllis with this plaque. It says, Certificate of Commendation, American Legion Post 136, recognizes Phillis Viera, 1997 good guy, for her many years of dedication to Wilmington veterans organizations. Thanks.
I'm going to get invited, Jim. Okay. Yeah. Having a little trouble with the mic. I apologize for that. Jim, what is it?
Put the mic down.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Pizzara, the man in the pot. That took us hours to produce. Where's the Porta Potty Removal Society here? Okay. Phyllis, you take this home. Sans Tom Pizzara. Again, representing Phyllis's family is her brother-in-law, Tom Bailey. Tom?
I'm in big trouble.
My name is actually Tim Chicago from Orlando, New York. As I said, I'm Tom Bailey. I am Phyllis's brother-in-law, or at least that's what I was told. I've never seen any paperwork on this, and I've never bought into it. When I first was asked to do this by my brother Joe, thanks Joe, the first question I asked myself is, who's Phyllis? And then after about 10 minutes, I caught on, and I decided, yeah, I've been waiting 25 years to do this. I know Joseph is 27, but It's a little family secret we don't talk about. You knew I was going to do this, Phyllis. You are Phyllis, right? Oh, okay. Phyllis has always been an inspiration to me and my family. Phyllis invented a whole new game in our family. If you all remember hot potato, we call it hot phone. Phyllis calls, everybody tosses the phone around. The last one to have it has to talk to Phyllis. Now, talking to Phyllis is an all-night affair. I'm glad to say for the last 10 years, I've been the hot phone champion. I hear the phone ring and I hear, and I'm out of the house like a shot. Because Phyllis, in fact, one time I got caught about 10 years ago. Phyllis was talking. I went out and played golf. I had a meal, very good meal, by the way, and came back and went, and Phyllis was still talking. Phyllis was also a very neat freak, and I can understand that being on the potty patrol. The very first time that my wife Nancy and I stood in her house, we had to go to bed without dinner because we made a mess in the bathroom. My brother has not got up in the middle of the night once in all the years they've been married because when he leaves the bed, she makes it. The man has got a bladder you wouldn't believe. I'm only telling the truth. But that's what I thought this was about. No, Sean didn't. This part Sean wrote. I have a son who's a would-be comedian, so we did a little collaboration on this. It was easy material. I'm telling you. I talked to the family. I said, let's find out what we can talk to about Phyllis. And everybody thinks she's so perfect. We came up with this. It took me 5 days to read through this material. And I was told by my brother I only had a couple of minutes, so, you know, we had to cut it down a little bit. Phyllis is very well-rounded. Oh, I'm sorry, Phyllis. That's a subject that I can't talk about. What I want to say is Phyllis is very hardworking. She's a jack of all trades. She's done nails. She's done hair. She worked in a deli. She worked the corner at the combat zone. She was always very enterprising. She's a notary public. She works in the town, which makes me wonder, this town has changed so much since I used to live here. I'm kind of glad I live in New York now. Phyllis also claims she comes from Italian ancestry. All the kids thought she was Oriental and she had 3 eyes, because Phyllis never went anywhere without a camera. And every time you looked at Phyllis, you went blind. But Phyllis would take pictures of everything, and then you would have to sit hours looking at posts, at sky, at the tops of heads. It was wonderful. We loved it. I thought we were going to have a problem roasting Phyllis, but we roasted Phyllis every Christmas with her gifts, because Phyllis shopped from JCPenney's ugly and colorful. Phyllis's gifts were always a topic of conversation. In fact, I've got a son now who lives down in Middlebury who's finally wearing a jacket. I wasn't saying Phyllis was ahead of her time, but after 25 years, it's come into style. I wanted to get rid of some rumors that I was paid to come here. I was not paid to come here. In fact, the only reason I got to talk is I was the only one in the family who didn't want money. It also is that, the other rumor is that nobody likes her in the family. Well, that's not true. Everybody likes her, except maybe Joe and Joseph. They have to live with her. I just want to say, Phyllis, congratulations and thank you for being Phyllis.
We heard from Representative Maselli representing the town of Wilmington as a rep. The other side of the aisle is a senator here representing Wilmington, a fellow by the name of Bruce Tarr. And Bruce's dad passed away this week, so Bruce could not be here. But stepping to the forefront was a former senator who retired, was not defeated, undefeated, untied, unscored upon. A friend of the, a very good, close friend of Phyllis's, a very close friend of the town of Wilmington and the Good Guy Committee. This is the former Senator Bob Buell.
Thank you, Harry. It feels a little awkward being sort of the designated hitter for Bruce tonight. He's sorry that he was not able to join with you. Harry told him a couple of years ago that he was really on probation with the Good Guy Committee for coming here, and he wants you to know that this doesn't count. It's been a very difficult week for Bruce, and so he asked me if I would deliver the citation from the Massachusetts State Senate, which I've sort of been accustomed to doing myself over the years. Only, as you can tell, there are some different players and different names on these citations. And I wasn't sure it was going to get here. And in the event that it didn't, Harry was going to pass me Jim Maselli's, and I was just going to read off because the language is almost the same except for substituting the House and the Senate. And it seems like a long time, Phyllis, since my wife Jean and I first attended our first American Legion installation. And you were there leading the charge for the Women's Auxiliary. And like everything else in town, you've always been there and leading. And so it really is a pleasure for us to join with you again, even though I'm out of office, to come back to Wilmington and see the familiar faces, and to know that you are that friendly face and that warm personality in Town Hall, and I hope you continue to be in all the endeavors that you are involved with in the town. So I would like to just offer you the Senate citation, and it does read pretty much the same way, only it says it's the Massachusetts Senate that extends its congratulations to Phillis Viera in recognition of her many outstanding years of service to the town of Wilmington and the recipient of the Good Guy Award. And it be further attested, the Massachusetts Senate extends best wishes to you, and it's signed by a new fellow by the name of Thomas Birmingham, still the clerk, Edward O'Neill, and it's offered by Senator Bruce Tarr and signed today. You know, if they'd only elected you to this position several years ago, I would have given you a William M. Bulger signature. And with that, of course, you would have received one of his brother's lottery tickets, so I give you one right now. And Bruce Tarr would like not to be outdone. He said, well, all right, but Tom Birmingham, as the new Senate president, he's got some ambitions. And he wants to be one of the first to get you a Joseph Kennedy for governor bumper sticker.
Thank you, Senator. Representing the United States Marine Corps, Mr. Joseph Harkin.
We come not to roast thee, we come to toast thee. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but whenever any organization needs some help with various arrangements around town, you know, like with Memorial Day, Veterans Day, et cetera, we always know where we can get a helping hand. In fact, sometimes it's a leading hand. So Phyllis, for all your help in the past, we have a token of recognition for you, and it reads, with appreciation to Phillis Viera, 1997 Good Guy, for dedicated service to the Wilmington Detachment, Marine Corps League.
Sure. Yeah, leave the box here, Joe. I'll clean up after you. I was in the Army, Joe. We always cleaned up after the Marines. I'll throw it here on the floor, Joe. The young lady, the young blonde lady here tonight that you had seen before Phyllis got here was a representative of the Lowell Sun. And she told an interesting story. Earlier this week, she called up the town hall and had a phone interview with Phillis Viera, not knowing who she was at the time as being the good guy nominee, although she knew she was going to cover the story tonight. But she interviewed Phyllis as being the leader of the Memorial Day Parade. And so she found it quite interesting that she had encountered the same woman twice in the same week. And obviously, she was quite impressed. Now, the Memorial Day Parade, we have Paul Farrell. Paul, you here today? Yes, Paul. Paul representing the Memorial Day Parade Committee.
Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. The person chosen for the Good Guy Award is an excellent choice. Energetic, the highest of integrity, efficient, and meticulous. She's been on the Memorial Day Committee as a secretary for some 15 years and has served with distinction. Also, the 4th of July Committee, she has served with distinction. Volunteerism is nothing new on her part. She has done a lot for the Cancer Fund, has helped with muscular dystrophy. Tremendously patriotic and a friend of the veterans. As the veterans agent, I can report to you without reservation, your choice this year is the right one. Thank you.
As you can I have no problem telling, this night is put on by a bunch of amateurs led by myself. And one year in doing this, I did forget a group. And as we filed out and got into our automobiles, this person came running up. She had something to say. So I don't want to do that tonight. So I'm going to announce the last 3 speakers I have here. And if I'm forgetting anybody, just raise your hand and we'll squeeze you in. Coming to the microphone next is going to be the #1 man in the town of Wilmington, the town manager, Mike Carr, followed by the town clerk, Mrs. Scanlon, and then that's going to be followed by the former good guy, and then, of course, Phyllis herself will say a few words. Now, if anybody else would like to say a few words before then, just raise your hand. The bartender? No? Speaking of how about the cook? Okay, speaking of the cook, by the way, the meal tonight was an excellent meal. It was put on by Harbinger Cuisine, and that was by George Kelly, Jr. George did an excellent job. If you clap hard enough, he'll bring out an encore of desserts. I guess he's not going to do that. So, okay, the next speaker is going to be the town manager, #1 man in town, Mr. Michael Kyra.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. Honored good guy Phyllis and her wonderful husband Joe and her son Joe and members of her family, Mr. Cunningham, Mrs. Cunningham, Joni, Richie, Chachi. You know, this is supposed to be a roast, and now I know each year why they call me and ask me if I'd come back and do it, Harry. You figured after all these years you'd have gotten it right, but keep working at it, because I know that you have it in you somewhere. We're not laughing with you, Harry, we're laughing at you. Excuse me 1 second, I've got a page here. Oh, it's a message here. It's for you, Harry, from Kavanaugh's. They heard you're dying and they're ready for you. Phyllis, you were surprised, weren't you? So was I. Now we know why she's able to do all these different things. Have you seen that there are two of her up here? Did you see the two pictures? One's from First Communion and the other's from Confirmation. They had to dig way back for that. But Harry, when I walked in, asked me to say a few words, and I was naturally needed to make a few notes, and I didn't have any paper, so Skip Moynihan's significant other, Jeannie, and I know you always get a little nervous when a guy named Skip says he has a significant other, but in this case, she's a beautiful lady, and she was kind enough to give me a Kleenex. I've made my notes here, and at least I have something to go. Excuse me. Allergies, you know, so I guess we're going to have to wing it. And in conclusion, Phyllis, you know, I just want to say that when I left the house, my oldest daughter, Jennifer, and Phyllis knows at least 3 of my 4 children because she has roped them into being Elmo or Gizmo or Jim Rooney or any one of those characters that we have in the And she said to me, now where are you going? I said, I'm going to the good guy one. Who's the good guy? And I said, Phillis Viera. And she said, oh, she's the friendly one, isn't she? And I said, yeah, you've got the right person. She's the friendly one. Matter of fact, I like to think of Phyllis as the patron saint of hopeless causes. If you come into the town hall, she has got everybody's cause in her Rolodex. I mean, she just absolutely has it. People are always calling Phyllis. They usually have to call a couple of times because she's late. Matter of fact, Phyllis, she's unique among town employees. She's the only one on flex time. But actually, she is a person who is always picking up the mantle and the cudgel for the downtrodden. As a matter of fact, the call came in the town hall the other day. Phyllis, you probably told some folks about it, from M.L. Carr. M.L. Carr called her, and he said to her that he was looking for her help. And Phyllis said, oh, you don't have to worry about anything. Patino's not coming. Phyllis gets upset when there aren't enough problems for her to deal with. Now, she actually was very unhappy the last couple of days. I went up to her and I said, Phyllis, what's the matter? And she says, everything is going okay. And I said, well, that's good, isn't it? She said, well, you know, so I figured, what the hell, I'd help out. I called up Bobby Stewart and told him to arrest her husband. She was tickled. She had another cause. Isn't it great that Jim Rooney is here from the Board of Selectmen? Jim was the recent chairman of the Board of Selectmen. You probably recognize him. He never met an idea he doesn't like. I mean, just think. We got the football stadium. We got the parking lot. We got the commuter rail facility. We got the 62 bridge. We got the Route 38 project. We got a couple of sewer extensions. We got a playground. We got a new school, a town hall. We've got all of these things, and we even have a golf course. And those were Jim's ideas last week. The telephone poles. Don't forget the telephone poles. They'll probably have you working on that next, Phyllis, I'm sure. And Bob Buell, isn't it wonderful? All these people that are here. You know, Harry says I don't have that much time. You think about it. Rooney, Peterson, Barada, Maselli, Buell, Hooper. Oh, so many targets, so little time. You know, and let me tell you something, Harry. Bob Buell may be undefeated, but he's not unscored upon. I just want to say to you, Phyllis, that we all think very, very highly of you and all the work that you have done over the years for the town, and certainly for all the causes. I know that when anybody wants to reach you, they can always dial 911. As a matter of fact, Phyllis has her own business card. Here it is right here, if anybody can get a picture of that. And it's something that Phyllis is, put your glasses on, Phyllis, something that Phyllis is always using. What I really wanted to do this year is give Phyllis something special, and that was a key to the town to allow you to come and go as you please. But obviously you must already have that. So instead I will give you this key ring that says you're #1 with Wilmington. It came in the mail the other day and I had to give it to somebody. I also wanted to check the handwriting on those 2 letters from the Vieras to make sure they weren't the same. And we have one final item that I needed to talk to you about, Phyllis. She really is global, you know, in the works that she's been able to accomplish over the years. As a matter of fact, it was just, I think it was Tuesday, that we got some mail in with some strange-looking postage, and it was addressed to me, and inside it was another letter. There was a note on top of that other letter addressed to me from Boris Yeltsin of Russia. You all know Boris Yeltsin from Moscow. And Phyllis knows him very well, has helped him out. He's had a couple of problems, as you know. And Boris wrote the following, and I would like to share it with you, and especially with you, Phyllis. It goes as follows. Comrade Phyllis. Non do kracchia nato con do greci ne forgnova schiamba. Sidon lungum brogionie I skordia boravasesses. Askan Barchiskum Krokin, Tony Krasminski, Franzakio Golf, Skip Moynihan, und Jakko Golf. Chungum Brogjeskum und Krokin abatement, niet. Alaga Makaskonien, good guy Phyllis. Nostrovia Boris. Congratulations, Phyllis. You're a wonderful person and you deserve everything.
That was our #1 man in town. With that little speech of his, you know 3 things. You know why he was the former MC at the Good Guy Award. You know he's not an elected official. And now you know why Wilmington doesn't even have running water. The next speaker is also from the town hall. She's much more attractive, much more intelligent, and I'm sure more witty. It's the town clerk, Kay Scanlon.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. It is my great honor this evening to be representing Phyllis's friends from the town hall who are attending here with us all. We consider ourselves to be very lucky because we have daily contact with this special person. And we simply call her friend. And it is very difficult to describe
I'm getting you Monday.
Stay there.
Thank you.
Get him, Bob? Good luck. Yeah, you want? Okay. Okay.
You never have to for lunch. Congratulations, honey.
In closing, I would just like to read this very touching tribute to a very special person. For someone special. Isn't it funny how some special people don't realize they're special at all? They're thoughtful without even thinking about it. They're always right there when you call. They share not expecting a thing in return, yet always seem richer for giving. Isn't it lovely how those special people can teach us all so much about living?
There's two things about Phyllis that Kay did not mention. I thought she might, so I'll mention them now before we introduce the former good guy from last year, Jim Buckley. And that was, we had a serious accident here in the town of Wilmington. The very popular Officer Redding was in an accident, and he was in a coma for an extended period of time. And they put on a big welcome home party, and leading the group to welcome him home with a fine corsage that was made, assembled, and contributed to by all his friends. But the leader of that corsage, or bouquet, I'm sorry, was of course Phillis Viera. And Phyllis, one more thing, just to really call attention to the Stephen Cravell Memorial Scholarship, which is given to a student every year in the town, is administered to by the one and only also. She leads that parade. So that's in her spare time. The next to the last speaker tonight is the former good guy from last year, whose reign ends this evening, to present the official award. The plaque is a former good guy from last year, very popular man in town, Mr. Jim Buckley.
Every year I admire how Harry can put this show on. He really does a great job. In fact, I was talking to Dawn, who does the videotaping for WCTV. I says, Dawn, how do you, Harry's got to goof up once in a while. What do you do if he goofs up? He goes, well, that's easy. We just dub in from last year. She goes, how can you do that? He goes, well, you notice he wears the same suit every year. I found out how involved Phyllis was in a funny way. I'm a member of the Wilmington Lions Club, and we wanted to put a float in Memorial Day Parade this year. So I went down to Town Hall, and not knowing my way around that well, I'm roaming around, and I roam into the assessor's office, and I talked to Phyllis. I says, Phyllis, I says, I would like to get a float in the Memorial Day Parade, the Lions Club. And she goes, well, you're going to have to go to the Memorial Day Committee. I said, okay. She goes, when do they meet? She goes, well, next Monday. So I go to Memorial Day Committee, and who's sitting there but Phyllis? So I says, Phyllis would like to get permission to go to Memorial Day Committee. She goes, well, that's okay. We can approve that. So I says, well, is there any chance we can get to use the 4th of July Hall to store some things? She goes, we're going to have to go to the 4th of July Committee. So I go to that committee, and who's there but Phyllis? So I guess Phyllis is involved in just about everything in this town, and as we have adhered to this evening. This is our 31st annual Good Guy Award. And as Harry mentioned, we're going to be starting again next March, looking for next year's good guy. And they keep saying there are no more good guys in this town. We all know there are plenty of good guys in this town. So come next March when you see the ad in the paper, let's get in those letters and let's support this. It's a great function. I think it should continue for many years to come. Phyllis, you want to come up here? This is my chance to get rid of some paperwork. First of all, I'm going to present the paper to Phyllis, the paperwork that goes with the Good Guy Committee, because she next year is going to be the chairperson for the Good Guy Committee. So there's one job I get rid of, and it's now Phyllis's. This is a good way to clean your desk off. And the Good Guy Committee has put together a plaque which we'd like to give to Phyllis, and it says, Wilmington Good Guy Award, Phillis Viera, May 9th, 1997. Congratulations, Phyllis.
And now a word from the good guy of 1997, Mrs. Phillis Viera. Phyllis is extremely nervous. She said, what am I going to say when the time comes? And I said, they're all friends here. And that obviously is true. Phyllis.
That's all. I'm short too. It's dangerous.
Don't be afraid.
It's all right, it's right. I don't know what to say. I'm shocked, honored, pleased. My mind isn't functioning well. I was very surprised. I guess I want to thank everybody who voted for me, and especially my husband for that letter. I'd like to thank my family for being here with me. This is an honor, and I'm very shocked. But my son and my husband, they put it past me, but I guess they both have told me numerous times that, especially my son is Ma, it's easy to put something over on you. But I love them dearly. They've both supported me 100% and have been behind me no matter what I've done, especially my husband. He loves it when I go out at night. He gets to have the TV and his couch to himself and not be bothered. But I do want to all thank you very much for being here. I really don't know what to say other than thank you very much.
That wasn't too bad, Phyllis. Didn't hurt at all. The program has officially come to an end, but there's two things I'd like to remind a few people of. One is Mrs. Sharp Brennan. Thank you. You're welcome. First time I did it right. She has an attendance book, and for Phyllis's memories later on, it would like very much everybody sign it before they leave the hall. And there's also a group picture taken every year, all the good guys, for publication or for history or something. So with all the good guys gathered at the front of the hall with the new good guy, and we'll take a group picture. Thank you all for coming on behalf of Phyllis, especially the Viera family who sponsored her and pushed for her, justifiably so. We thank you all for coming. It's a wonderful turnout. God bless. Have a safe trip home, and thanks again.